to another episode of StreamGeeks Live, the show where we talk about one thing and one thing only: live streaming. A high-definition broadcast brought to you by your hosts, the StreamGeeks, Paul Richards and Tess Protesto. Available via video on Facebook and YouTube Live, plus via audio on our podcast cast channels on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher Radio. StreamGeeks, the tech geek source for the latest in live streaming and video production. Let's get started.
Okay, Tess, episode 1.
Here we are. We're officially starting a podcast.
We don't really need to look at the cameras because they're all just moving around. We kind of set them on a playlist.
This is going to be an adjustment, I think, for us.
Yeah, this is a much more kind of laid-back hangout. Welcome to episode 1
so
of the
right
StreamGeeks. Thank you for watching. We don't have any social media following at all just yet. Thank you for listening on the podcast. We are two streaming kind of idiots.
Streaming geeks,
Streaming
if you will.
geeks. And we have a regular day job where all we do is streaming, mainly.
Yes, we stream, we sell cameras for live streaming, and we really just love it, which has led us to kind of branch out to do this little passion project to try and have a deeper connection with our audience or potential people that have an interest in this booming industry of live streaming and kind of talk to them about what we do and what it takes.
Yeah, because you know how I know a lot of organizations allow kind of their employees to do kind of like a passion project or a 10% project. Yeah. This is kind of where we get to kind of not talk about trying to sell anything or have to talk about something that the engineers or the bosses want us to do. We can talk about whatever we want.
We have a little more freedom with this, which can be dangerous. So we'll see what happens, but it should be a lot of fun.
And Tess actually created a little segment list for us so we can kind of try to stay on track with the show.
Exactly. Yeah, we're going to do all the segments today, and I want to take listeners' feedback. Which segments should we keep? Which segments should we trash? Pointers and tips. This is our first podcast. Yeah. So if you guys have any pointers or tips for us, we want to take it all in. We're excited for this opportunity. We'll see what happens. So
the subject for today's show is our aha moments in live streaming, which I have had a ton of, and I know you have too.
Yeah, it seems to be a common theme for us.
So I kind of want to go like all the way back. I had an aha moment like last week, which I think we will probably talk about today, which was the simulcasting to YouTube and Facebook at the same time and how to do all of that. And we are going to kind of geek out, if you will, and talk about some of these geeky streaming scenarios and setups that we have. But you want to start with an aha moment, Tess, that when you first started streaming? I know you were a little frightened, right? You were a little stage frightened.
I was terrified when I first started, but the aha moment for me was probably my first stream when you kind of threw me to the wolves.
Oh, yes, I forgot about that.
Paul went on vacay and was like, you know what, Tess, you're doing a show by yourself. And I was like, what the hell?
So how long had you been working here at that point?
Well, I started in January, and it's June, so 6 months.
I know, but when for your first live show?
Probably 3 months into it.
Okay, so you had
whenever
been
you went to
for
Florida.
3 months, you were learning on vMix, right? And you were kind of looking over my shoulder. I was just kind of, because the best way to do it, I was just like, you kind of just gotta jump in here and just watch what I'm doing. And you looked pretty frightened, actually. In fact, I remember I was watching from Florida I was on the beach in Florida on vacation.
I know.
And I had my iPad out, and I was like, the show's supposed to start, and it's not streaming
I was on the
yet.
phone with you. Yeah. Do you remember?
So I had to call you. I was like, all right, I better call Tess.
Meanwhile, we have like our 40 viewers waiting for me to do this behind-the-scenes show, which was it was supposed to be. I had a guest. I had Tom Sinclair waiting for me, and I'm just there. What happened was the audio wasn't working. Yeah. Oh, no. I was getting double on the audio.
Oh, you were, and you know what I think it was at the end of the day? I think that you were wearing your headphones, you could hear Tom, but I think that the YouTube, when you go live, it starts playing, and I think the volume was on there.
The browser.
Is that what it was?
It was a browser, and yes. And luckily I had Tom Sinclair there to walk me through it, who is a very popular live streamer, if you're not familiar with him. But the aha, if you will, moment for me there was sort of that with live streaming, you just kind of have to push through it.
Yeah.
Because there's awkward things that happen. There's really difficult things that happen every show almost. Even if we've been doing it for a long time, like you're the real big pro with this, there's still these moments that come up. It's spontaneous and you're oh shit moments. if you will. And you just have to keep pushing through it and not stop the stream unless you've hit like rock bottom.
Yes. Well, I think there was one stream where I was just like, cut the stream. Like I was like recently, like there was one stream. I think I was on my own, or maybe you were there. We do so much stream, I can't remember. But I remember there was one stream. Oh, I know what it was. During the Streaming Awards. Just last Friday, we hosted the 2017 Streaming Awards, which went very well. But we also streamed the presentations, and there was an issue with like the local presentations, the people bringing in their computers and trying to get their audio in and everything. And it just wasn't working. I was just like, cut the stream. So I have cut a stream before, but you really shouldn't. You really should try to push through. But
exactly.
Because your audience will listen, and they are willing to kind of deal with the technical issues if you're willing to be like, something's happening, you can probably hear me, but I can't hear you.
What I found with live streaming is your audience is extremely forgiving.
Yeah.
Because everybody in this industry is kind of starting off on their own and learning things as you go. So they're extremely forgiving in live streaming, which is nice to have. Everybody was they like seeing that you're a real person too and make mistakes. So you don't have to fear so much.
Now, not everyone is like us, though, and actually does all the switching and recording and has a conversation, which is kind of cool for this show because we've just got the cameras on a loop. They're literally just looping. So because I think for this show, we really just it's more of a podcast where we know a lot of you guys are out there listening with your headphones in on iTunes or SoundCloud or wherever you are. So it's really more like we don't have to actually press
we're
the
trying to reach like a new audience and say, hey, who's out there? Like, do you guys have this common interest with us? And if you're wondering why I'm not talking in the chat, if you are watching live, it's because this is mainly going to be a podcast, so forgive me for not answering your questions there.
Yeah, let's probably, once we do start getting a lot more chats and stuff, we do have a way to bring in the chat messages and display them on the screen. And maybe we'll just put it right in front of us here or something.
Yeah.
And because we do want to listen to the chats.
Yeah.
Because it is a live
We
show.
love our live streaming audience, too. Yeah. We still have to show them love.
And we've got a new API chat room plugin, which we're not going to get into now, but it integrates with Facebook and YouTube, and we should definitely use it at some point.
Yeah, definitely. So let's get started on basically how this all started for you.
Okay.
Let's talk a little bit about the company and basically where did the company start and how did that end up involving live streaming and PTZ Optics Live?
That's a good point. So, we're not going to get into, a whole bunch of like trying to sell cameras or everything, but because you asked.
Just talking about how you got
How I got into the industry. So I've been in the industry for 10 years, in the professional audiovisual industry, which is kind of boring.
Not so much anymore, though.
Not anymore, thank goodness. Ever since live streaming, really.
What did you sell at first? Because it's different now.
It was very boring. So it was like, well, of course, I started off in sales, so I actually had to like cold call and like try to meet people. And we literally would be looking for companies in the area who needed like a sound system or like a projection system or something, anything technology related where an end user couldn't do it themselves or needed a professional system. And it really, it was cool because it was technology, and that's how we actually got into this whole other world, which is awesome. It was a great stepping stone. But I think a lot of people in the industry are a little bit bored with it. New stuff is coming out all the time, and it is a very exciting industry. But when we got the chance to jump into the live streaming industry, I could not believe how much more excitement there was.
Really?
People are excited. People are just doing it all over the world, whether it's a cell phone. And I think some people were like, what's going on? Like, it's so crazy. But we've found that we've been able to build a really great business with a lot of really great professionals. And Tessie kind of jumped on board not too long ago.
It was like the perfect setup for me because I love video production and I also love social media, and that's what I applied for originally, was social media marketing position. And it kind of transitioned into this live show hosting as well, and I love it.
It's almost like because you went to school for social media management,
I went to school for communication studies,
okay.
Which kind of tails onto marketing and whatnot. But basically, I was interested within the courses I took in social media.
Because it seems like YouTube and Facebook are some of the larger social media platforms were just adding live streaming as you were graduating. So it's like whether you like it or not, like if you're going to be in social media, it seems like you almost have to be doing some sort of live. You have to
pay attention to it now.
So
I was surprised coming into this business why we didn't talk more in university about live streaming, because we didn't talk much about it. We talked a lot about location services and social media and basically how to reach your audiences, but we didn't talk about live streaming that much. which is surprising.
Yeah, and it's almost like what is that, like a graduate level course? I don't think there are any courses on it.
Right. But like something we've seen, Facebook Live didn't really become available to us until just a couple months ago. So
Yeah.
why would we have discussed it
No, there
last
wouldn't
year
have been
in
time,
college
yeah.
and whatnot? Because it's literally that
Can you
new.
imagine the generations of children coming out of school now? Maybe they are actually being taught about live streaming. Or maybe they do have to take one of our courses.
I bet you it's a topic of conversation in the same course I took last year. It's that it
It's
wasn't
changing that
top of
fast.
yes, it's probably changing that fast.
Wow.
It's really interesting. So let's talk about your first live stream.
Oh,
so
gosh,
many
I was
times
waiting
we
for
get
this.
in our live streams in the chat people saying, I'm afraid to start. I'm nervous. Like that's the only thing holding me back. I have a great concept. I know the audience in need is there, but I'm afraid. How did that fear set in for you?
So I was a little bit afraid. I didn't really know what I was doing, and I made almost every mistake.
You knew about the
could
cameras that
possibly.
you were selling.
I knew about the cameras, but not even nearly as much as I know today. And so I ended up dragging Patrick in. You guys
remember.
may know Patrick. It was Halloween of all. It was like
We should have brought the audio in for that.
we should have brought it in because the audio was so bad. The audio was horrible, first of all, and that just makes the whole stream bad. But the video was pretty bad too.
We've learned that without good audio, people don't like you at all.
If you have bad audio, it doesn't matter what you have for
Just
video.
leave.
But yeah, so the audio was really bad. I didn't really know what I was doing. I was able to go and get some After Effects templates, so I did have like a little intro and I did have a little outro. I was able to use like a stock lower third, but it was funny actually. I was doing it all on vMix because I was like, I really like the software because I was like, if I can teach this myself, then I can make this work. So I wasn't going to spend $1 million on the studio.
Right.
Like it was literally, we bought like a green screen that was like a cloth. And I think that those tripods you use for the streaming awards with the streaming
that what you
thing,
used?
that's what we used, and it
That's
was
funny.
horrible. I mean, there was like, you could see the background was gray and stuff. Now we have a really nice green screen and everything. But I actually got contacted by Martin Sinclair, the CEO of vMix. That shows how small the live streaming and video production.
It really
if you are
is.
willing to put yourself out there, you'd be surprised the people that are watching
That want to
and
collaborate with you.
give you tips and everything. And he came to me and he was like, Paul, you're making us look bad. Look, your show
Shut
looks
up.
horrible.
Are you kidding me?
He
You've never
basically
told me
did,
this
because I was like,
before.
we're using vMix, it's so great. And he was like, dude, like the problem is that like basically the video layers were like they were like popping in and out.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what was going on. I was like, is that normal? But basically we didn't have our video graphics card enabled. So even though we had a great video card, of course I was
Is
using
that
a laptop
normal?
at that point. And anyway, he was a little embarrassed. He's like, you're making us look bad, man. Because we were supposed to, at that point, be kind
Wow,
of
Paul got the
representing
rundown
vMix.
from Martin Sinclair himself.
Yeah, he gave me a bad rep a little bit.
Luckily, ties have since been.
Yes, I think he's a
Prepared.
little bit happier now. And of course, we work with everyone
He better
now
be.
in the industry. We work with so many people in the industry, so it's great. But
That's the great thing about it. The
that was the start.
opportunities, a lot of opportunities have came for you and for us from
Yeah.
live streaming.
Oh, definitely. It's been
Business
fun.
partnerships, dare I say.
Yes, plenty. And it's just such an industry, a crazy industry. So many friendships, even. And then once you've only been here for 6 months, but you get to go to these shows, and it's so weird because like David Foster from the Streaming Pros, or Tom Sinclair from Streaming Idiots, or Martin Sinclair from vMix, or Andrew
And
Cross
hopefully
from New
soon
Tech.
Paul and Tess from
And
StreamGeeks.
people. Well, honestly, it almost happened in
And
the reverse for
P2P
me at NAB. In Las Vegas, the big broadcast show every year. People were coming up to me. I mean, like, I watch all your videos, blah blah, this that. So it's like it's this crazy world, and it's really fun to be a part of.
Yeah, definitely. Should we move into our?
Oh, we have our segments. Yes. So what segment do you want to do first?
Do you want to do the video one?
The live video.
Let's see
Okay,
how
let's do that.
playing a video on a podcast plays over.
Yeah. So you're only going to hear the audio.
We'll of course describe it, and that's where we need to work on our describing skills and whatnot if we're trying to talk about something that we're seeing.
That's a good point. So this is the random viral video clip of the week.
And finally, now it's time for the random viral video moment of the week.
So in this video, and I'll talk about why I chose this video in a little bit, this little boy, about 10 years old, gets a present from his parents, and he opens it up, and it's a pair of sunglasses, but they're very special sunglasses because he's colorblind. And this is the first time that he's seeing color. And he is so sweet, the way he just cries. He falls to tears. And this is like a couple minutes long. This poor boy is crying about how happy he is to have seen color for the first time. I got this clip from the Little Things live stream. I figured it would be important to pick something that was live streamed.
I'll put a little bit of. I'm playing the background.
And of course,
audio
we will share this video on our Facebook group if you want to
There
see
he
the
goes.
real thing.
He's putting the sunglasses on.
He puts them on. Oh my gosh, and he's so cute.
Oh my god.
He just immediately starts crying.
I'm practically going to cry. I had the same experience.
Did you really?
Yeah.
And his mama just hugs him and loves him.
Oh, that is so cute.
I chose this because Paul is colorblind,
This is a good
and
one to
I
start
felt
with.
like it would be a good one for you.
So this was viral?
Yes, this video went viral,
Wow.
and it was shared on the Little Things live stream on Facebook.
We'll turn off the background crying. But yeah, I had the same experience.
Hopefully, I don't know how audio panned out on that, and we'll find out for next time once we listen to it. I'm sure this is going to be a little bit like live streaming, where we
Learn a little bit.
we
each
learn
week.
as we go, and we want you guys to be there along the way with us.
I was giving him a
Oh.
red
His dad's
baseball
giving him
helmet
a red baseball bat and baseball. I guess he can't see red.
and yellow.
Oh
It's
my
it's not that you
gosh.
can't see
I
it.
can't
It's
imagine.
It's so strange. It's like you can see the colors, but they're just different.
Really?
Yeah.
So everything's
Wow.
probably just more vibrant to him, and
It's less vibrant usually because like colorblind people are missing some colors. So like you know how colors are all mixtures of other colors.
Yeah.
Like they're just missing. We miss a few colors. He's so happy. That's so cute.
isn't that the sweetest thing
That
ever?
was a great one. So we're gonna do one viral video a week, just because I maybe live streaming related next time. Just kidding.
Well, it was off of a
No.
live stream.
Was it?
Yes,
They
it was
live
from
streamed
The
it?
Little Things. It's a very popular. They have
yes,
thousands of
yes.
followers. It was from their weekly live
Okay.
show.
Cool.
Actually, they stream every weekday, I believe. But it was from their show, and you know, maybe we should do a moment that happened like on a live stream before.
Let me turn our captions back on. These captions are powered by webcaptioner.com, a free tool, which is a web browser-based input. So we got some captions, just a little tidbits. There's gonna be tons of tidbits of geeky streaming information
Yes,
coming
we
through
love it.
the whole show.
So, what is the next segment? Would that lead us into our tech tool?
Okay, yeah, let's do that. Okay, random.
And remember, you're going to tell us which segments we should keep and which segments we should ditch.
Here we go. Random tech fact.
And now it's time for our random tech fact of the week.
Whoops, that was a tech fact, not a tech tool.
I have one.
Okay.
Okay, the random tech fact, which we learned recently from Luria
Okay.
of the Live Streaming Pros, is there's always the misconception that you cannot stream to Facebook and YouTube at the same time.
Oh, yes.
We recently learned that it's completely and ethically and legally correct to stream to both if you do not use Facebook's API.
Yeah.
So for those of you wondering and thinking that you can't stream to both, you actually can if you
We
just
thought
use a
that for a
custom
long
RTMP.
time.
Yes,
we were
we
very
just
worried.
learned this like last week.
We would stream our Friday shows to YouTube and our Wednesday shows to Facebook. And we're like, let's just separate them. We don't want to get in trouble. We're a business. We can't get in trouble with this. And then come to find that it's completely fine. And we weren't going to use the API anyway.
And then this past Friday, we did stream to
Yes.
both, and we got we were concerned that we would lose our loyal audience on YouTube because they would be going back
Kinda
over
get
to
split
Facebook
or
or split in
something.
between. But we had like the normal like 50 viewers or whatnot. But we also had like 20 some viewers on
Yeah.
Facebook. So we really just gained about a third or
I can't
half.
believe how
Excuse me.
long we've been streaming and not doing this because there's a completely different audience on Facebook. And we're
There
just
is.
not
I think it was
capitalizing.
again with the fear. You know, you just got to take those
There's a little
risks.
bit of fear there. And just to explain what the API is for those of you who might be like, what's an API? So basically like in Wirecast or vMix or these platforms, if you log into Facebook through the software, so you don't have to go to Facebook to get the custom RTMP and the stream key, if you log in through and just hit stream now or do it all through the API, that meaning the third-party program doing it all for you, that would be technically illegal if you did it that way. Although the interesting thing is, Wirecast and vMix and all them don't allow you to do that because it is illegal. So like they don't create a product that will allow you to do something that's illegal, so you don't even have to worry about it. But that, if you were to do it that way, that's the API, is like when a third party builds in the streaming, logging into Facebook for you through Wirecast, for example.
See, and I'm still learning all this stuff because I'm very new to this industry where everybody else that I'm hanging out with has been here for like 5, 10, 20 years. So all this stuff is very new to me, probably like a lot of the listeners. I'm just here along for the ride.
That's our tech, that is our tech fact of the week, but we also have a super tool, right? Should we get into that?
Yes, we can do our super tool. I was just checking on
And now it's time for the super tool of the week.
That is to be expected. Okay, so
Super tech tool
of the week is the new Tech Connect Pro, right?
No, I was going to do the Chat Connect Pro.
Oh, Chat Connect Pro.
You can do the new Tech Connect Pro.
I read that wrong.
But since Chat Connect Pro just came out today, I
right.
figured we should highlight it. Though
That's a good one.
this is kind of salesy, but this was your own personal invention.
Yes, this is actually a teensy bit salesy because it is a $10 app that I developed.
If we're going to do something that's semi-salesy, we at least have to call ourselves out.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But this is something that so many people are really interested in.
Really,
I swear
really
we wouldn't do
need it.
some boring thing about like selling our cameras today.
Yeah, it's not like we have like a new device like that's, on our product sheet or anything, but this is something that I actually ended up paying a developer from Freelancer to do for me because I was like, somebody has to freaking do this. And what it does is it logs into YouTube and Facebook for you using the API. But it doesn't do any streaming, so it's not illegal. And it downloads the chats from YouTube and Facebook and combines them into a single location. Because that was one of the first things that a lot of people were saying is like, well, if I stream to YouTube and Facebook at the same time, how am I supposed to manage all of the chats? I can't manage 2 chat rooms at the same time.
People normally pull you, say, hey, head over to YouTube, that's where I will chat with you, or head to my website, that's where I'll chat with you. But then you're definitely missing out on some conversation.
My God. People are going to chat wherever they want to chat.
With live streaming, you want to be there. It's all about ultimate interaction with your audience.
Yeah. So it brings in both of those chats. And I think I have did I put an example of it in here?
I don't know.
We'll do it next show. We really don't have much of an audience right now until this goes on with our podcast, really. But what it does is you can now take that information and then display it in Wirecast or vMix or OBS or XSplit or your TriCaster. And there's a ton of ways to take the information, but it gets the information for you. And then you can put it into custom titles and lower thirds and all the different things. So trust me, if it was an easier way, I would have done it and I wouldn't have created this app. But you got to authenticate into Google and Facebook in order to get that information. And so it's a WordPress plugin. I figured that'd be easy. Everyone knows WordPress.
A lot of people, most people.
Yeah,
really
well, there was one guy who was like, what is WordPress? I don't have WordPress.
Oh,
And
no.
I was like, dude, this might not be for you.
Yeah.
And then he bought a domain, a GoDaddy domain, and got a WordPress and was like, oh, this cost me $100. It's like, sorry, but it shouldn't even cost that much money. You just buy a domain, it's like $10 or something.
Yeah, if you buy a cheap one.
But I think he had to get a hosting server, and I don't know. I already had all that stuff, and most people do. But so it's a WordPress install, and you get both of your chats combined together. And I've been hearing from so many live streaming pros, literally.
No pun intended.
No
but
pun intended.
Yes,
the live streaming pros and other people are like, wow, I want to use this. In fact,
why wouldn't you?
It's so nice.
We're going to be using it for the first time on our Friday show.
I think we could use it on. Well, I was all right. So
we used it before, but added with Facebook.
Now it's gonna be with Facebook on Friday. But I was also thinking our Wednesday show. Why not just stream that to YouTube and Facebook too?
Yeah, we can. And for layman's terms, the Chat Connect Pro app just allows you to put both of the chat rooms that you're using, Facebook and YouTube, together, so you can read them both, communicate with them both, and put that on your live stream.
Yes.
Right.
And the geeky version of that is that it creates JSON, which is a way that you can bring into data sources with vMix and then power your titles with data sources. It also has an XML download, and then it also has a lower third title creator, which is web browser based, where you can, and it comes with a whole bunch of images, and you can upload PNG files and then have
So you can
the
put your
PNG
own
files.
show's spin on it, make it
Exactly,
all
yes.
cool looking.
Yeah, and I mean it's good, and I mean if it's $10, so you give it a try, you see if you like it. If you really don't like it, we'll give you your money back. But
Really?
everyone, I guess. if you
making
if you
promises.
watch the StreamGeeks first episode, yes, we'll give you money back. If you don't,
Yeah,
like it.
because the only way they would know that is if
Yeah.
they watched the episode.
Exactly.
They've earned it that
So
way.
if you watch this episode, you pretty
Listen,
much get
if you listen to this episode,
Yeah.
we're so visual, like
I know,
visually
it's true.
based. I don't know what the word is. I'm gonna have to work on my vocabulary if we're gonna do
Well,
this.
let's talk about how we're doing this, because I think this is an interesting workflow.
This is.
Let's explain how the person who's listening on iTunes and podcasts is eventually getting this content.
Okay.
You want to try? You want to take a stab at it?
Oh God.
Let me take a look
So,
at Audacity. Make sure
We are
that's working.
streaming to Facebook right now. We're using vMix to put in all those little MP3s that you heard with the segments and our intro. We're also recording on Audacity to then post this content as a podcast on iTunes.
Yes.
But aren't we using some sort of...
We're going to use Podbean.
All right, Podbean?
It's called podbean.com. Yeah, I looked at a
I'm
lot of
very
different
new
ones.
to the podcast industry.
Yes, we both
so
are. I don't know much about
Paul and I have been like YouTubing our asses off, like trying to figure out what this world is about.
So, yes, you pretty much got it there. And, I mean, there was a kink in the system. Oh, yeah, I forgot to say. We were supposed to stream this to YouTube and Facebook. And our
Yes.
very first stream on YouTube got flagged
Oh my
before we
gosh.
even started streaming.
This does not happen to us. We did something. Who knows what we did?
I think
Somebody
you might,
sabotaged us.
I think you might have to have like 100 subscribers before you can start live streaming or something.
Do you think that's what it is?
That must be, because we didn't even start streaming, and they were like, "You violated our ability to."
Yeah, they said we did something terribly wrong.
So
Like,
our
we haven't
very
even
first
posted
YouTube
a
live
video.
stream, because we hadn't even posted a single video.
I know. Hopefully we
So
don't have any issues with that once we're done posting this.
We were supposed to simulcast to YouTube in 1080,
Mm-hmm.
Facebook in 720. So every show is live streamed. It's a live show. And then we also use a virtual audio bus to record just the audio that we want to Audacity.
Mm-hmm.
And throw in a little curveball for you. We have another audio bus going to webcaptioner.com to bring in our captions.
Okay.
So there's double audio streaming, double video streaming. But we were only able to stream to Facebook because we got flagged by YouTube. So we're recording in 1080p and we're going to upload this to YouTube
I don't know what
after.
we did, but
Then we take the audio file we're recording on Audacity with that audio bus, and we're going to upload that. Actually, we're going to upload the video and the audio to Podbean. And Podbean is our podcast hosting account. That we actually got our own iPhone app too.
what?
Yeah, we got like an app, like a StreamGeeks app.
We do?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And there's
I
got
need
some
to check that
artwork
out.
that you're going to need to work on and stuff. And anyway, so Podbean creates an RSS feed that will feed iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and there might be a couple
Cover
others.
all your bases.
Cover all of our bases, and then I think SoundCloud is separate, and we just upload the audio directly to SoundCloud.
Perfecto
So
mundo.
before we just did YouTube and Facebook, and it was great. We had tons of people, but then we realized, geez, just by adding an audio component, we could add these hundreds of, I think millions of podcast listeners can now tune in and learn a little about live streaming.
And I love that we can be a little bit more free.
Yes, that's the point of all of this, is that we are literally going to talk about anything we want, which is going to open this up a lot.
It's PG-13 too.
It's PG-13, so do not invite, if you're going to bring your kids, make sure
I'm
you're there
just
with
kidding.
them. I would hope it's kid friendly. It's PG.
I think I said a curse, so I better.
Oh, you did actually. The first episode. All right, fine. It's PG-13 from now on.
No. First episode doesn't count. From now on, we'll keep it PJ.
All right. Yeah. Parental guidance in this show.
I don't really know if any young children that are going to be wanting to.
I don't think.
Actually, I did just get, and this is something that's interesting. I'd got an email from a guy that's using our cameras his kids are using our cameras to do like a Twitch thing. They're like
yeah,
on a
you
green
sent that
screen
to
and
me,
yeah, they're like on top of their game and they're like talking about what they're
Yeah.
doing. These like 10-year-old boys.
Oh my.
And
And then
that was kinda cool.
then he live streams a concert and weekend with it or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting use cases. I mean, crazy stuff that's going on. We're not going to be able to cover it all.
What else do we have for segments?
Where's your little sheet there? We have a whole bunch of different. Oh, okay.
Let's see. Live of the week, shows to watch.
Oh, shows to watch.
Should we just highlight our favorites?
Yeah.
If you're just for this week, if you are new to live streaming and you're just kind of trying to figure out what it's all about, and you want to check out some cool live streaming shows, especially shows about live streaming, because that's kind of what we're into right now. My favorite is Live Streaming Pros.
I really like their show. It's not super techy.
No, which is why I like it, because I feel like I can understand it. If you're looking for like a lifestyle show, Brian and Carrie in the morning, they're my favorite for that. And you can continue. Our buddy.
Oh yes. So if it was a scale of like not very techy, which would be Live Streaming Pros.
Yes.
Right, and then like super techy, which would probably be our show. PTZ Optics Live.
Yeah.
Gets pretty techy. It's too bad you're all the way on the tech side over here. And then Streaming Idiots is like all in the middle here. Tom Sinclair does a great job really breaking down like the live streaming news, and like really he's a vMix guy. Let's be honest. He loves vMix. He's like practically related
vMix
to
is a streaming software, allows you to manage your show.
Point. Yeah, it's one of the really cool ones. That's out
there's
there.
vMix. Similar to that is Wirecast, especially if you're a Mac user. You're gonna probably want to use Wirecast. XSplit. OBS is a free one if you're interested in doing it for free.
Although it's funny because like Wirecast actually, by the way, has their own show, and I put that up there as one of my favorites. They're in between.
Andrew Haley.
Yeah, like he's a little more techie than Tom, but a little less techie than us.
He does
so
some
he's
cool
nice
stuff.
in the middle. He does some really great stuff.
Yeah, and he's got some cool guests too.
And so great for Wirecast users too. So there's 4 shows that are just about live streaming, and there's actually more. If you know more, leave some in the comments so we can start checking them out.
Yeah.
It might be more. I'm trying to think, but
Tech shows?
those are 4 really good live streaming based shows. There used to be another one called
World of
The
Live
Tech Buzz.
Streaming has their
World
own
of
show.
Live Streaming, yeah. That's on Mondays actually at 3, which would be in 45 minutes.
Oh yeah.
They have that. That's a great one, and I would put them on the techie side.
That's like a conundrum, like not conundrum, but they always invite, which is kind of cool about their show. They invite anybody to join in via Zoom call, and they normally have quite a few gentlemen, sometimes women. I was on their show once or twice.
Yeah,
and they're just sort of geeking out, talking about live streaming.
Yeah, no, they're definitely on the geeky side. I would put them on past geeking out us.
Their host Giles wears super cool overalls. For that, I commend him.
Yes, the world of live streaming. They're on the ball. They will catch you if you don't know what you're talking about. That was actually the premise on our first live show. Was let's just invite people on via Zoom, because we were hosting webinars before we started live streaming, and it was just like 2 or 3 people join the webinar, talk about technology for the hour, and that was the premise. Then now where we are today, it's I'm the host, you're the co-host, and we really try to get a little bit more control, a little bit like really like segmenting out everything. I think viewers really, I don't think like I do love what World of Live Streaming is doing, but I think people want to feel like they're almost watching television.
Yes.
But they're part of a live stream where they
want
can
to feel
chat
part of
and
it, where they
have
could communicate
engagement.
with the hosts, and something we can talk about. Maybe next week we could start talking about like growing your live show and audience.
Yeah.
I definitely want this to be a place for listeners to learn basically how to be successful, and we're in the middle of it too.
Yeah.
We're growing now, and things are going really well. Yes, seems to be like a hard part I wasn't even here for. You were already pretty successful when I came on.
Yes,
but things are going pretty fast right now. So I think we found some tactics that are really working for us, and it's like time to share them.
The giveaway started really working out well for us.
Give out free stuff, and people will love you.
And create a app like the Chat Connect Pro, which doesn't cost you any money, to give it away for free, because
I'd say the number one thing.
Expensive.
Yeah, the number one thing is probably consistency.
Yes, that's true. So we're gonna try to stay consistent with the show.
Yes.
We started on a Monday. We started a little early because I figured there's no one out there that's watching, like waiting until 2 p.m.
Exactly.
We haven't built our audience yet. So that'll be good. We'll be posting every Monday.
Yes, we're going to be posting every Monday.
YouTube, Facebook, podcast.
So do you think Monday evenings we'll be posting this if we're going to record it at 2 p.m.?
Yeah, and
if you want to see our faces, you can watch live, and if you just prefer.
Podcasts now have video too.
Yeah. Oh
so
my gosh.
With Podbean, we're going to upload video and audio.
Okay.
And they're
depending on if you're in the car or if you're like going for a run and you can't watch, you just want to listen.
Yeah. People like to just download the audio just because it's like super small files.
If you're like cheating at your work and just want to like have it, but actually, if you can listen to music, you might as well.
Some people can listen to. They listen to podcasts all day.
Yeah.
Because they're like an artist.
That
or
would
a graphic
distract me.
designer.
I could do music just fine.
I know, me too. But they like to like a lot of people. Let's be honest. There's a lot of people who are not happy with their jobs, and they're just sitting there at their desk, and they'd rather be like continuing their education about something while
whatever their passion is.
And so they just pop the buds in all day long. They're listening to podcasts.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of the people who listen to podcasts are at work actually while they're listening.
Yeah, I believe it. I think that covers all of our segment possibilities.
Good.
Oh, we have the branding quote of the week. Is that do we use all the videos that we have?
I don't think we have a clip for that. I didn't know that was one of our segments, so we'll have to add that one in. A branding
quote of the week, and this is something I use on PTC Optics Instagram. It's a Gary Vaynerchuk quote. No matter what you do, your job is to tell your story.
That is a great quote.
I like that quote.
And that's something I actually really I think we do a great job of, but I also struggle with it too a lot because I feel like because storytelling, it's not only it's so central to human communication, like forever, for centuries, it's also a very hard thing to do. And so, when we launch new products, we have a new product launch coming out. Some of our professional life is going to bleed into this. So, but again, we're not going to be selling anything or talking about products too much, but we have a new product launch coming out. And, my job as the lead marketer, live streamer is to figure out like, how am I going to tell this story? And, we have a great story to tell. We're going to save people a ton of money, give them all this cool new technology. We're going to make live streaming so much easier and more fun and great. But I know that like 80% of the people aren't going to understand the tech stuff. They're not going to know the tech jargon. They might not even get why it's going to save them money.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're just going to go with what they know works. And there's some really, like the new tech NDI is really a new changing technology that everyone loves. And anyone who knows what we're talking about says this is like the future. But how do you tell the story so that people can go from using OBS for free to adding that plugin and seeing the future and everything? And that's, that's the storytelling of it. Is you have to tell, like, if you don't tell the story right, you could have the best product in the world and people won't get it.
Yeah. That's an interesting point for this industry. Because even me listening sometimes, I'm like,
Well, you actually interviewed Kyle Gunderman from the Griswold Elementary School District in Connecticut. And they were the top. We did the 2017 Streaming Awards, and it was really fun. And he sat right here, and you interviewed him. And I think one of the things I took away from him is that they do a morning announcement show for an elementary school, which is actually fairly common nowadays. Not when we went to school.
I know, right? We would have been like the star geeks of that.
Could you imagine? I'd be like, that would be so funny if like today, like people would be like, how'd you get in the industry? I'd be like, see me when I was like 12 years old, I was doing the morning announcements. But it was interesting. One of the things he said was how like he has to have 2 students up there so that they can talk to each other. And for about a year and a half, I was doing the show. I was doing it with Pat, but he was like, Paul, I'm not doing this anymore.
Right.
We weren't having a ton of viewers. It wasn't like super fun or anything. So at a certain point, I would video conference Pat in to the show, and he would be literally on the other side of that wall at his desk.
Oh my
because he didn't want to be part of it. He just wanted to be there.
And so, please,
I needed someone to talk to,
yeah.
or else I wouldn't sit there and talk to like a camera.
That's another recommendation that we can give
good point.
viewers.
Yeah.
Either have a co-host, somebody to bounce off of, to communicate with and whatnot, or have a guest. Have guests on your show. Anybody that just has something to say about what your audience wants to hear.
Yeah, and I feel like that added so much. And it doesn't hurt the fact that you're a girl in a kind of all-guy scenario because there are a lot of women out there who want to do this, and and especially Facebook is opening that up to me so much, and a lot of other people. But for a long time, it would be like a group of dudes, and we were like, a lot of us were wondering like, are there any women in the industry?
Are there women here?
But then like having you on the show, and now we've got regulars of it's almost a mix. It's still probably more men than women, just because of the way the tech world is today. I think it is changing. But I feel like, you know, you being there has encouraged a lot of women to continue to watch your show.
I hope so. That's the plan. And for all you women out there considering the industry, it's low key because there's no drama. So come on over. There really isn't. I mean, I work with a few women, but they're all really nice, and there's not this, I don't know, just being a woman, there's sometimes in the work field this weird competition or something. But if you cut out the women, you're good to go. No. Luckily, we got a good group of girls here.
We have a great group of girls here, thank goodness. And I think we did a really good job on our first episode. I think that we're looking for feedback, but it's hard to get feedback when you have such a limited audience at this point.
That's interesting for me. And when it comes to podcasts, is there a place that they can comment or message us?
So both of us are very new to podcasting, right? So, but we are very good at live streaming, and I feel like
we want to be here. We know we want to be here.
We know we want to be part of the podcasting community, but I feel like most people are going the opposite direction, like because podcasting is much older than live streaming. So I feel like a lot of people are podcasters or radio announcers who are looking to add live streaming. So we're kind of weird here. So we're going back, and we're hoping to come into the podcasting world and say, hey guys, like we actually come from the other side, and that is what we're going to be talking about. But we love the medium, and we're interested in engaging the podcasting community. Now, I guess one thing we're going to have to get used to, because we're like saying, oh, I wish we had, like it feels like right now, in our normal show is when we would basically switch on the Q&A, right?
Right.
It's like, okay, we talked about what we want to talk about. Now we're going to answer your questions. And that is such a refreshing part of live streaming. So I think one of the great things is that once the, in fact, I mean, maybe you could check the Facebook and see if there's any comments, but I think once we get this show up and running, it's going to take us a little while. Once it's up and running, we're going to start getting a ton of comments and people asking us questions
that we can address in the next show.
Address in the next show if we miss it. Because right now we're not getting any comments, let's be honest.
No.
Because we literally, this is our first show. We have 4 people like our Facebook page. So if you're out there, please come over and like our page.
StreamGeeks on Facebook.
So we're 42 minutes into the podcast. And I think this is the chance where we would normally be like, let's answer some questions.
Yeah.
But we don't have any questions. And the funny thing is that we were talking about this like podcast world. So the podcast world is not used to. They don't have a chance to give questions. They're listening to it after on a download on their phone.
True.
So, but I have listened to some podcasters. I prepared for this. Did you listen to any podcasts in preparation?
Some, but not a lot.
What I realized, and I was listening to Parenting Help because me and my wife were in like a crisis at the time, and you go into these mini crises, with like the little children.
I told you when Jason refused to sleep the other night.
Yeah, we went through mini crises, both of us, like constantly. And one of the things I realized is I was listening to a mother who was basically giving some really good advice about parenting that my wife really needed.
Let's hear it.
I needed it too. Well, no, it was mainly. I'll tell you the gist of it was basically. Children are going to have a lot of emotions, and they might not make sense, and you just have to deal with that. Like my wife was like my son was giving my wife this thing, and she was kind of brushed him aside, and then he started crying, and I was like, he's trying to give you something, because she was breastfeeding, she was busy, but she didn't realize that and then she made him cry, and then she was upset, and I was like, look guys, everyone stop. Children have weird emotions. It's just gonna happen. It's just gonna relax. But anyway, the point of the whole thing is that in podcasting, because the really good podcasters, they do have a set of questions from their audience. And they go, last week, Joey asked this,
that's what I'm thinking.
Let me answer that. So we don't have any live Q&A currently. I'm sure we will eventually. And we love that during our normal shows.
Yes, we want your feedback. We want to get to know you, and we want this to be for people learning and interested in learning about this industry. So let us know. If you want to find us on social media, of course, head over to Facebook at StreamGeeks. Instagram, we're getting into the Instagram world.
Instagram.
You can see our funny, crazy goofiness on Instagram at StreamGeeks. Everything is StreamGeeks. StreamGeeks.us, should I say. StreamGeeks.us.
StreamGeeks.us
is our website where you can
out.
catch up on all of our podcasts.
So last thing I'll just say is we are in like a retrofit boardroom, so like any space in the world can be a cool live streaming space.
This is the set we use for our live show that we do every week, and we figured why not just hang out here to do the podcast.
Yeah. And I think it works well. Tess even put a little
We will
Stream
definitely
Geeks
get
thing up here.
to set design
can't
in
even
this
see.
podcast and how to retrofit a boardroom into a live streaming set
Geeks.
and how to get around your colleagues not wanting you to do so.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of topics that we can go into, but that is everything. So thank you so much for watching, everybody.
For listening.
This was Stream Geeks episode 1. Bye.